$100 into an account that earns 3% annual interest compounded monthly. Okay, so I'm going to highlight that. It's compounded monthly. What will be the total value of his investment after 6 years? Okay, so let's set this up. A equals. Now, let me get back to the compounded monthly part, actually. So compounded monthly means it's going to be compounded 12 times per year. So that's what we're referring to as N. N is the number of times the interest is applied. So N is going to be 12. Just keep that in mind. So A equals. So P is the principal amount. So 800 parentheses 1 plus the rate is 3%. So that's the R. So I'm going to go 0.03. We got to write as a decimal divided by the number of times it's compounded, which N is 12. We just talked about that. So we're doing that 3% divided by 12 because it's being compounded monthly to the power of N times T. Now, N is 12, right? 12 is our N, and our T is 6. So 12 times 6. So that's the setup. So if you need to pause and look at it for a second to see where I got everything, go ahead and do that. So now we just got to solve it. So 800, 1, I'm going to do that all at once. 0.03 divided by 12 plus 1 equals 1.0025. And 12 times 6 is 72. Okay. Now we just got to do the 1.0025 to the power of 72. And I'm going to keep that all in the calculator at the same time because I don't want to have to do any rounding until the end. I want my answer to be as exact as possible. Times the 800. And I got $957.56 if I'm rounding. Okay. Let me show another. Benita deposits $1,300 into an account that earns 2.9% annual interest compounded semi-annually. Compounded semi-annually. So semi, hopefully you recognize as 2. So semi-annually means it's going to be compounded twice. So N is going to be 2 on this one. So let's do it. $1,300. 1 plus 2.9% would be 0.029. And then N is 2. Remember, I'm just using that formula up here. R was 0.029. N is 2. We talked about that already. Okay. To the power of R. Wait, what was it? It was NT. So it's going to be 2. And then the number of years is 8. So if you're comprehending this, we're taking that 2.9% and we're dividing it by 2 because it's done semi-annually. And since we're doing it semi-annually for 8 years, I'm going to do 2 times 8. So it's going to be compounded 16 times. So 1,300, 0.029 divided by 2, add it to 1. I got 1.0145. And like I just said, 2 times 8 is 16, meaning since we're doing it semi-annually for 8 years, we're going to do it 16 times. So that's the kind of comprehension of the formula. But you really just need to know how to use it. So I'm going to do 1.0145 to the power of 16. I'm going to keep that in my calculator. I got about 1.259. And I'm going to multiply that by the 1,300. And I got 1,636.73 about. All right. I'm going to do one more of these. I'm going to do number 3. So this one is compounded quarterly. Quarterly means 4 times a year. So n is going to be 4, just to keep that in the back of our mind. So 4 times a year for 7 years, 6%. So we're going to take that 6% and we're going to divide it by 4 because we're doing that 6% over 4 times over the year. And then we're going to do it for 7 years. So let's just use the formula here. 900 1 plus the rate's 6%, so 0.06 over, it's compounded quarterly, so we're going to divide by 4. Just using the formula from the top, you should be able to go up and down and just kind of reference that. I don't want to keep scrolling because that'll get annoying. And then I kind of have the formula memorized. So then to the power of NT, so it's going to be 4 times 7 up here. So 900. So I'm taking that 6%, dividing it by 4 because it's being split up quarterly. I'm going to add it to the 1.015. 4 times 7 is 28. So 1.015 to the power of 28. Get that, then multiply it by 900, and I got $1,365, and if I'm rounding, about 50 cents there. All right, so that's what it takes to do these problems. Just apply this formula with all these problems here. So let me talk about a few more here. So I'm not going to do these, but I just want you to understand what it's saying. This one says compounded annually, and it says in parentheses just once per year. So that means n is going to be 1 on this. The second one says, the next one, number 5, says compounded daily. So how many days are there in a year? 365. So that was crazy. You're going to use 365 for this one. This one's quarterly again. So we already did a quarterly. Quarterly is 4 times a year. And then we've already done, whoops, did not mean to do that. We've done monthly as well. That's 12 times per year, right? So just to help you out there, so that you're using the correct value for n. Okay. And then I'll just tell you this one too. This is semi-annually, which we discussed was 2 times per year. So I didn't want to give that all away, but whatever. So that's what you'll be using. I'm going to leave you alone on this one. This one is just play around with it. So basically, for Carly's investment, you're going to be using the simple interest formula, and for Hannah's, you're going to be using the compounded formula. Okay, so I'm going to let you try that one. Okay, so see how I'll let you play around with that one. Okay, but I'll let you do the rest.